Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry, the game is here. I am in the game, but I forgot to open DX Story as I just restarted the stream. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Starladder Day 2 of Season 4 Finals broadcast. I'm your host, LD. We're casting Virtus.Pro versus Fnatic, and when I say we, I mean not just myself, but of course, a bit of a blast from the past who's recently returned to the scene. It's none other than Merlini. How you doing?
How's everybody doing? Thanks for the introduction.
These are, it's great to have you on the stream. I know you did a cast with Epi. And it's something where I'm hoping to see more from you. I think your stream's very educational. I think a lot of people learn a lot from it. By the way, I did watch your tutorial. I found it very helpful. I'm sure a lot of people will as well. So guys, if you want some educational material, I think Merlini's probably the best in the business for that. But more importantly, let's see what we can sort of illuminate about this game. Virtus.Pro versus Fnatic. As we look at this match, this is our loser bracket round 1 matchup, meaning that if these two teams lose, whoever loses is going to be 4th place for the event. The winner moves on to face the loser of Navi versus Empire tomorrow. The other match we have today coming up after this best out of 3 is Navi versus Empire. So 2 best out of 3s today. Merlini will join me for both of those. And then tomorrow, the loser bracket finals. The day after that, the grand finals. So as we return our attention to this game, Virtus.Pro versus Fnatic, a pretty interesting matchup here. Virtus.Pro, some older names from the Russian scene, especially NS and Santa. I think most people recognize them. Over on the side of Fnatic.EU, this has been a troubled team. They had a lot of difficulties getting adjusted to Dota 2. We're by far the premier team in Heroes of Newerth, but over the past 2 months, they've really established themselves as a top European team.
Let's see, for Fnatic RC, we have Find My Schnickel, No Tail Era, Trixie, and JK, Heroes to be determined. And VP, we have NS and Santa, as LD mentioned, and Airman, KSI, and CRZ as their 5th.
Oh boy. And speaking of Airman, we're seeing a hero that I know you play a lot with when FNC's in the stack. It's the Lifestealer. And they also have the Lifestealer bomb potential, whether it's Bounty Hunter or Prophet. He can be very mobile around the map. This is a hero that Airman loves to play. It is by far, I think, his favorite hero, one of his most successful. And it is actually something, when they played Empire yesterday, the Lifestealer was 1st or 2nd banned both times, so they never got their hands on it, never had a shot at it, but this time around, Fnatic let it through.
Yeah, we're not seeing much AoE from VP's lineup. It looks like a very gank-heavy lineup. Nature's Prophet, Lifestealer, and Bounty Hunter. Almost no AoE at all, barring Nature's Prophet Ultimate. So hopefully they have something to get rid of CK Illusions when it becomes that phase of the game.
So what do you think about the draft so far? We're up against like kind of a global, it's a lot of single target heroes. We don't have too much team fight just yet. It's both teams really focused on kind of mobility and ganking, spreading the map. There is a Darkseer who obviously can be sort of the fulcrum of a team fight, but it seems like both teams kind of have a similar style in mind through the first phase of the draft.
You always need at least, I'd say, 2 AoE heroes to deal with Chaos Knight's illusions. If you don't, his physical damage will just rip you apart in team fights, especially once he gets BKB. So hopefully they can keep him down. Lifestealer is generally very good versus strength melee carries, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, of course, Chaos Knight does have some ways to kind of deal with Lifestealer, as Lifestealer is a single target hero. Chaos Knight, if you don't have that AoE, the illusions really make life difficult. You can also do things like remove open wounds with Phantasm. Rage doesn't last forever, so it's a matchup where Chaos Knight can do all right late game. The main issue is going to be he just generally doesn't get a whole lot of farm, and they do have that Chaos Knight Wisp combo, so I expect to see them very active around the map, going for a lot of kills. Fnatic has often, I think I've seen them dual lane this mid before, so obviously normally most teams would run it in the safe lane, but something we could see as a dual lane mid combo. And speaking of that mid lane, not really any obvious choices for Virtus.Pro. Sometimes we see Prophet there, but I don't think this is a good game for a Prophet to be solo mid.
Have you seen Storm ban? I haven't seen him banned very often in competitive matches myself.
No, not really. We saw him picked once yesterday. He's kind of a fringe pick right now.
Interesting. I wonder what VP's going to do for their solo mid.
Yeah, this is a little bit curious. I guess they're just worried about, a hero that's difficult for that combo to gank. Even if you relocate in, you can always zip away. Also, you can kind of catch the Wisp out of position, pick her off. But it's an interesting ban. I mean, more targeted, I think, just at VP as a team than at anything they've done in the draft so far.
This is true. Storm's very difficult to gank if you don't have any instant cast spells. CK has a projectile base, so...
The only other thing I can think of is he's a really annoying combo with Lifestealer. He's probably... I want to say he's the most fun hero to combo with in a pub, just infesting him and then zipping
Oh,
in
I
and
definitely agree with that.
out. But aside from that, yeah, it's kind of an interesting ban.
Good call on the Life Stealer. I forgot about that. Infest plus Storm Spear is just a really big pain in the butt to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, Batrider's the other big one, but of course he's pretty much auto banned nowadays, so not going to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like a decent amount of kind of really heroes that discourage grouping up and being aggressive to a certain extent, being banned out by VP. We look at heroes like Enigma, Naga, Keeper of the Light. These are heroes where if you want to group up in the mid game, get a kill or two with the Wisp Cast Knight and then start pushing. Black Hole, Song of the Siren, and Illuminate. These are all spells that really discourage you from doing that and also from being successful at doing it. So they all get banned out on the side of VP. Fnatic still, their laning stage looking a little bit weak, I would say. They don't really have an obvious... I mean, they've got the Darkseer. That'll be probably one of the solos, and it looks like... I guess they need another dual lane, and the question is, who is that going to be? Because they normally run this Chaos Knight Wisp as a dual lane.
Good call on the global. They picked up Invoker. He's kind of fallen out of favor recently, but I think he's still very strong here. The only thing that was nerfed was his base damage, so his team fight potential is still as strong as ever. It's just his laning phase is just a little bit weaker, especially with TA being very, very popular. But with her being nerfed recently, hopefully we'll see Invoker picked up a little bit more. But now they have Sunstrike and Nature's Prophet for global presence on the map.
I wonder, I mean, EMP Tornado is really good against Chaos Knight, especially because his mana pool is so low. Wisp can help mitigate that if she gets farmed. But, I mean, like you said, it looks to be a global lineup, so we may see that Exhort build. But then Virtus Pro really lacking on the team fight. I mean, and you mentioned AoE. I guess you have the Meteor, but that's not exactly reliable AoE. So I'm a little bit concerned about them. If they go for that and it doesn't work out early, I feel like they're not going to be able to fight 5v5 later on.
Invoker's very strong versus Phantasm. Only his image can, or only himself can BKB. He can use Ice Wall, Blast, and Meteor, and Tornado for the illusions, and it does a pretty good job of handling it, although he is pretty much on solo duty for handling CK illusions. And it looks like Fnatic finished up with Lina Sven combo, double stun, very good, late game as well.
I love this Disruptor pick. You're up against Wisp. You go in, you try to start the fight with Relocate, glimpse back the Chaos Knight or the Sven, whoever's with him, and then you're probably the Chaos Knight, and then you're left with nothing. You're just a Wisp by yourself. So I feel like this is one of the best heroes in the game to kind of counter that Relocate, assuming you get the glimpse off, assuming Disruptor's in the right place. Let's introduce the players real quickly. NS going to be playing that support Disruptor. Observer's already picked up. We have Airman on his signature Lifestealer. May even... Is he going mid? It looks like more of a jungle build, but we'll see. CRZ playing that Invoker, no skill picked up yet, but probably going to be that Exhort build. Headed towards the safe lane. Santa going to be playing that off lane Bounty Hunter. Has already been pulled some tangos. We might see that early Poor Man's Shield just to try and dominate that lane. And KSI playing the Prophet. And actually, I'm not sure what these lanes are going to be. I'll let you try and figure that out while I introduce Fnatic. We have No Tail on the Wisp with Observer Words already picked up. Error play the Chaos Knight. Fly on the Lina, leading up or sort of following the pack here. We have Trixie on that Darkseer. Early Soul Rain for him. May just be in the jungle to start this one off. And JK, or Hani, playing the Sven.
So it looks like there may be 4 people mid this game with Disruptor and Lifestealer from Dire side and a double stun lane, or maybe CK Wisp from Radiant. Radiant has a much better first blood lineup. They have 3 stuns, whereas VP pretty much has 0 at level 1. So looks like Radiant's looking for a very aggressive opening, but Furion Treant, well placed, scouts it out, so Bounty Hunter's safe to at least head bottom, see whether or not they have sentries, and just check out their lanes for early scout. Still 20 seconds before creep spawn.
Yeah, it's, I mean, like you said, we may have 4 heroes mid. It may be a dual lane Disruptor Lifestealer. Now, the nice thing about Lifestealer in this lane is, well, once he has Rage, he's pretty much impossible to kill. Not so sure about the Disruptor, though. If he gets caught out of position, he's a hero that doesn't really have a way to escape. He doesn't have a true stun. And until that Glimpse gets leveled up, he's just not that strong in the lane. So I feel like this could be a lane they could exploit. If that Disruptor ever gets caught out of position, he's, like you said, there's a lot of stuns, and he could be that first blood.
Mm-hmm.
So offlane Bounty Hunter up against a dual lane. Do they have Sentry Wards? Fly, yes, he does have a pair of those, so... Even with the Poor Man's Shield and the pulled regen, this is a tough lane. That double stun combo, plus they're going to have Warcry later on to chase him down. Not sure how much the bounty will get, but you can already see Prophet trying to do a little bit of pulling. Not going to work out here. The mid camp was blocked off, and I guess if you're going to dual lane mid, this is crucial. You don't want to fall behind in experience, and so we're going to see the 2-on-2 mid matchup.
So notice Hani's trying to tank the creeps so that they don't get hit by the tower. He does not have a stout shield, though. He's taking a lot of damage. Notice he does have 6 tangos, but he's already blown through 1 tango, and he's 200 HP in the hole after it, so he's having to blow a lot of regen just so they can keep this wave exactly where he wants it to be.
Yeah, it looks like the Prophet wasn't actually trying to pull the wave. He was trying to just hold it back so that the dire wave would push into the Radiant Tower, and then it would rebound and push back the other way. But like you said, Hani tanked the wave. Takes a lot of damage, but does make sure the creep equilibrium won't be... Well, we'll see if it gets out of control, but for the moment seems fairly even. So the other side of the map we haven't really looked at. It is a jungly Nature's Prophet, just a bunch of clarity potions for him. Not really going to be doing a whole lot in the early game, I feel. Invoker this is a miserable lane for this Invoker. This may be our first blood. Not this second necessarily, or maybe the second necessarily, as, oh, Invoker's only level 2. He doesn't have a point in Wex. This is going to be it. No way out. The doubles. Oh, man. That double Ion Shell. And this is just not a matchup that Invoker can do anything in. Sure, he's great at harassing in most situations, but with the creeps and the Ion Shell, just instantly brought down.
Wow, he's TP'd back, and Drixie's still going very aggressively on him.
I mean, can you do anything as an Invoker in this lane? I feel like he needs help, but where's it going to come from?
Yeah, especially with this dome build, you kind of need maybe boots first, so you can actually run away from him when he's not surged, and then you can spare some or get some distance when his surge ends. But you know, if you don't have boots, he's just gonna surge, run right next to you with Ion Shell, and just try and kill you with that nasty damage over time from.
And he's on him again. He's relentless. And even if they drive him back, even if they punish it to some extent, this is time KSI is not really farming. It's time Invoker's missing last hits onto the tower, and it's that offlane Darkseer who fell a little bit out of favor, I guess a couple of months ago, but has really seen a resurgence as of late.
We may see Furion trying to help this lane out, maybe summoning some treants to tank the wave a little bit so that Invoker nor the tower has to tank the Ion Shell damage.
I mean, he can try and help to some extent, but again, I feel like that's still a victory for Fnatic, right? Because then it's 2 heroes just dealing with the Darkseer, and they're not going to be able to kill him this early. So at most, they keep the Invoker safe, which maybe is worth it, but still a net win, I would say, for Fnatic.
Definitely. So Furion actually only started off with 2 clarities. I'm curious as to see what items he's rushing first. Most people, when they rush Midas, they start off with Gloves of Haste. He might be rushing Urn, Dagon, who knows. Dagon's much better for the early game team fight out, and we see Furion TPing top to try and prevent a second Invoker death.
Yeah, and I mean, if he's going for that Midas, it's going to be delayed, whatever he's going for, really. And Trixie finally will be ushered away. But that Soul Rain pretty much never going to be kept out of lane. Meanwhile, middle lane, Wisp is, doing a lot of damage. They get the kill on the Disruptor. And this is what you talked about, is just the better early killing potential on the side of Fnatic with all those stuns. But No-Tail might be turned around upon. Oh, salves right as he breaches high ground. Airman not able to cancel that in time. So in the end, Wisp lives. Top lane going well, middle lane going well. And then if we look at the bottom lane, Hani's getting a lot of farm, I gotta say. I mean, if Fnatic's not winning all 3 lanes, they're coming damn close.
Bounty Hunter is expected to lose, but I don't think Invoker is expected to lose this badly. He has, First Blood, he's Boots, Soul Ring, Stout Quelling. That's very rich. Darkseer 4 minutes in, and he's maybe 2 levels. He's level 4. Darkseer is level 6 at this point. Oh,
he may be in a bad position here. Look at the Treant block. What a nice block. But Trixie actually runs back in to clean up those Treants. Level 6 at 4.5 minutes in. And he may be forced back to Fountain, or at least have to ferry a salve, but this is trouble. This is big trouble. And we haven't even seen the mid-game potential of this Fnatic squad, which is Chaos Knight and Wisp just showing up anywhere at any time. As we look at this VP squad, there are some squishy targets. Invoker, Prophet, even the Disruptor, all fairly easy kills. And if you carry Dust, Bounty Hunter's not that hard to kill off in the mid-game. So I'm concerned for VP. I feel like it's pretty much up to some track gold and split pushy right now. Doesn't seem like they have any real momentum, aside from the fact that Lifesteal is farming pretty well in the middle lane. And by the looks of things, Airman is going to be rushing to Midas. Hasn't spent any of his gold yet.
Good call on the Quaz Wex. It looks like CRZ has 3 points in Quaz, 1 in Wex. And it looks like a gank's about to happen. Let's see it.
Oh, he's cold snapped up. Disruptor has joined this. There is a surge available, but you can't surge out of that kinetic field. Trixie's trapped in the Thunderdome. He's going to take a few down with him if he can. The creep, oh man, look at that iron shell. 2 heroes almost dropping to half health, but in the end, they get the kill. It does cost the Disruptor rotating up there. But this is the nice thing about the Lifestealer mid, and to some extent, maybe they should just leave him alone in that middle lane now. They really can't kill him with CK Wisp. I mean, as long as you don't get 4-second Chaos Bolted, you should be able to rage and get away. And Disruptor's kind of a liability there anyway, so I like this adjustment from VP, and I think it's a pretty good call by them.
It was very necessary to gank. They needed some sort of lane control top. And now he's level 6 as well, so he's actually even leveled, even though he was almost 2 levels behind just a few seconds ago.
And he's almost got a Midas, and this is... It's not going to be, at least not an early double Midas, because Prophet did go back for the Urn, which he already got a couple charges from, used 1 after that kill. Now he's going for the Midas. It will be delayed, but I think that's okay. They have the really fast Midas on the Lifestealer, and I mean, that is one weakness of CK. He doesn't really farm that well in general. He's doing okay so far in the lane, but you know, he's not really a great flash farmer come mid-game.
Right, and he's definitely not a Midas hero. You rarely see Midas picked up on him, whereas VP will probably have 2 Midases.
Oh, they're gonna pull him into the tether stun. No chance to rage. Yay. What a nice stun there. And, well, I mean, Lifestealer should be able to live, but you've got to be really quick on that rage timing. He just wasn't quite fast enough with the fingers there.
Poor Nix.
Yeah, not fun for him, but I mean, he is gonna have the Midas, so I think a death or 2 is okay, but losing these towers, that's looking like it might be trouble.
He had like 1350, I think, right before that death, so it actually set him back a decent amount.
Oh man, a little bit of miscommunication here. Era jumps in on KSI, but now it's Lifestealer going to work on Nota. Unfortunately, that's only a level 1 rage, doesn't last as long. Bounty Hunters join the fight. They pick off the Wisp. Airman's low. Airman should fall to that Ion Shell. He's got no mana for a stun, actually, but gets glimpsed back into the middle of 3 enemy heroes. 4 heroes from VP descend on the lane, along with a timely Bounty Hunter. That wasn't a track kill, but he's got track now, and I mean, this is really what the VP lineup is all about. Trixie surging forward, trying to kill off Santa while he's in Viz. Santa drops low, but jukes away successfully. Instead, Disruptor dies if Trixie can't kill one. He'll take the other instead. Man, he is just... Trixie is having a hell of a game so far. As far as net worth goes, he's our leader. As far as levels goes, I believe he is as well. Just absolutely crushing this game, and leading in CS too, while being very active all over the map.
Very good Ion Shells, and playing very aggressively, as you should be with Darkseer this early in the game. His Ion Shell just does ridiculous amounts of damage. He had a good surge on the Darkseer, or on the Chaos Knight, attempts to save him, but here we see the power of Glimpse. You know, just... if you think you get away, you just pop right back in the kinetic field and an easy kill. So later we'll probably see a lot of... we see some action on bottom.
Oh, it could be a 3-hero track kill on Hani. He's dropping quite low. He's got 20 HP. He has a TP, but shouldn't be able to escape. Gets glimpsed back into 2. I think actually glimpsed out of Lifestealer bounty range to get that extra track kill. But nonetheless, they get the 2 kills. Lina drops as well. And VP, I mean, they're making some good movements around the map, and Fnatic aren't really punishing this. Score is now tied up 5-5, and what looked to be just a... I mean, all 3 lanes being won for VP. That early rotation from Disruptor top, and now we're seeing more movement. Overall, their movement has been pretty good. They may lose the tier 1 mid, but I think they've done a nice job of stabilizing here as we approach the mid game.
VP also has a black map right now, which is very, very dangerous for nighttime, but if you 5-man around the map, it's not so bad. They're a little bit vulnerable to ganks, but if they're on the offense themselves, then, you know, you don't really need that good ward vision. Nyx just picked up his Midas just before 9 minutes in, and Furion almost has his Midas. He has 1,300 gold with an urn, keep in mind.
Yeah, I'm really glad you pointed that out, because it's not a dark map in just any old game. It's a dark map up against a Wisp CK, or Wisp Sven, Wisp whatever, basically. They go in on the middle lane, but there's that Tornado. A great way to punish the aggression, or at least discourage it. Bounty Hunter tracks the Wisp in the back lines. And one downside of that dual lane Wisp, he does get a bit under-leveled. Santa picks up a solo track kill. Now they glimpse CK back in. They're starting to find a lot of pickoffs here. And it's actually the team that you thought would be the aggressors. With that CK Wisp, dual lane mid, and the early success of the Darkseer, Fnatic now starting to experience quite a bit of trouble in the mid game, and Hani is getting a lot of free farm during this time, but as far as net worth goes, he's about even with that Invoker who gave up a first blood, so not really going for a greedy early game build. It's more of that you know, early involvement. He's maxed out Warcry. He's not taking any points to cleave. He didn't go for a quick Midas or Armlet. Looks like the drums for him. So I gotta say, things starting to look pretty decent for VP.
That was an excellent tornado. He was very fast with the reaction. As soon as he got reality rifted, he was actually out of range for tether, or else he might have been a dead invoker. As you saw earlier, they killed the Nakes by reality rifting into a tether stun, no chance to rage, and no chance to react, and then into a CK stun, and then he died. So.
Oh, Santa runs right into a Sentry Ward mid, but that EP tornado, no, not going to be enough. And now they go into CRZ. This is just back and forth. I mean, both teams, if they catch you even slightly out of position, you just die instantly, and that's what we're seeing. Fnatic now, with that sort of death ball build and lineup. I mean, we did talk about VP. You said you generally need AoE in the mid game to deal with the Chaos Knight illusions. To some extent, you even need it now. If Fnatic want to group up, they've got this really highly leveled Darkseer, who, oh, by the way, has an 11-minute mech Soul Ring, as well as all these other sort of, you know, cheap, cost-effective utility items. And now they're just pushing mid, and what can VP really do besides split push? It looks like they can't defend this.
They're down 3-0 in towers, actually.
This is starting to... Yeah, you're right, including that tier 2 mid, and they're starting to lose control over that Roshan pit. Oh, they are going to glimpse back a hero. It's the Lina. She'll dry quickly. Maybe not because of that mech in the end will fall. Now Prophet potentially going to be punished for his insolence. He'll drop. Pani throws the Stormbolt onto CRZ. Nothing, not able to Ghost Walk in time, so does take that stun. Now CRZ will Ghost Walk. Do they have Dust? Do they have Detection? Doesn't look like it. He's on the fringe of the fight. Now Trixie staying close to No-Tail. No-Tail looking very vulnerable. Only one armor with that track on him. Oh, never mind. Track doesn't actually remove armor anymore. I forgot. This is the new patch. But Santa gets Chaos Bolt. Keeps on running into these wards and does get picked off. I gotta say, both of these teams, I feel like there's too many players just trying to win the game by themselves right now.
Right, that was a little bit too aggressive move by him. Like, Invoker was running away and Ghost Walk. The Disruptor had already used his Kinetic Field. A little bit of overextension by Bounty Hunter. He could have saved himself from death. Especially, they had sentries earlier. They killed him in the middle, so he should be a little bit more aware of when and where they have sentries.
This poor Prophet gets relocated upon and just dies. Really nothing he could do. And I mean, you mentioned playing in the dark. They're still pretty much in the dark, and you know, not only that, but like you said, they lost the 3 early towers. Lack of map control is generally, if not a death sentence, then a really bad thing to have when you're up against this Wisp. And in that case, Prophet just trying to farm somewhere, you know, off the map to give his team that safer farm, and he pays for it.
So we see the gold graph, Radiant favored by 2,000 gold. Kind of expected with all that early tower money. They actually did manage to get top. Oh, we see Nakes.
What a... pretty manly from the CK there. Normally you would see any sort of hero 1v1 doesn't really want to fight Nakes, but getting those early crits and having a bit of, you know, more cost-effective early game items is going to engage there. Kasta gets pulled into the Kinetic Field, into the Static Storm, but the Wisp is here, trying to help keep him alive. Arrow will be forced to run. One more auto tag brings him down. On the other line of play, the Wisp will fall, so they get 2 kills. And it just seems like whoever has more heroes grouped up is winning every single fight.
Very back and forth game.
Yeah, I'm feeling... I'm not sure how to feel right now. I mean, it's just, like you said, very even as far as gold goes. Map control, a slight edge for Fnatic, but starting to stabilize. The tier 1 did fall top for the Dire. Or the Radiant tier 1 fell, rather. The Dire got that tower, and Experience dead even. Now, this is where the Midas come into play, so that might be slightly deceptive, as it's the Prophet and the Lifestealer who are getting most of those levels. But, yeah, pretty back and forth.
Yeah, difference in gold is only 1,000 now, which is pretty much just those 2 towers. Oh, we see a relocated mid on Santa.
Oh, Santa taking a lot of damage. These sentry wards, they're everywhere. That's something Fnatic has done a great job of. Just whenever they want to push a lane or even move past the river, there's always a sentry ward there. And how many times has Santa run into them now? I think all 3 of his deaths have just been running into a sentry with several Fnatic heroes waiting for him.
We see an Arcane Boots pickup by the Wisp. Sometimes you see Tranquil, but I think Arcane Boots is better for these mass stuns and when they 5-man try and push. So they actually have double drums. None of them rush any other item. So it looks like they're pushing T1 top. Just 5-man against their relatively weak 5-man from VP side due to the lack of AoE and Midas's this early. So Fnatic RC is trying to just abuse that. They'll get no contest on this T1 tower. Nature's Prophet does ultimate, but that damage will easily be healed up with Mech and Tether.
Oh, bottom lane, KSI. Whoa, who's actually running here? It looks like Hani was the one to go in first. Then thinks better of it. Will be backing off. More heroes coming in. KSI has the TP, not using it yet, thinking maybe that Fnatic would back off, but they're going in, baby. Will they be able to kill him off in time? No, he gets away. Now Santa forced to back off. More heroes rotating in. Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, it's Airman, and this would be the much bigger kill. He does infest inside the creep, but if they just start denying that creep as soon as possible, they should be able to kill him off. He does pop out. He's got the rage. He's got a TP away. Should be able to do so. That's a max rage. Nothing they can do to bring him down. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, Trixie dropping low. Tether stun onto Santa. Santa will be the one to fall here. Now onto CRZ, and once you start winning that fight as Wisp plus anyone, it is damn hard to run away. CRZ will drop. Double kill for Era. Wisp detethers, or the tether runs out, heads back to the top lane. And now they look to push this tower, and despite not having really traditional pushing here, they've got Sven, which means this tower is going to drop pretty quickly. Man, so much action. Ridiculous. 24 kills in 16 minutes. Oh, I'm glad I started to have my coffee. You sound like you might benefit from some as well. Oh, No Tail getting caught out. That's a very dead Wisp.
So Bounty Hunter just TPing right after his death. Unfortunately, no track gold for that Wisp kill. He's only level 9. Looks like he's picking up the drums as well. The normal phase drums, magic wand, and a bottle pickup as well.
You know, my concern is they haven't really gotten that many track kills. I mean, we saw his first kill wasn't a track kill. That one was, and I don't know how many he's actually gotten. And Santa once again runs into a sentry. Fly has just been on the ball all game long with those. Oh, the vacuum's still cooling down for another 15 seconds. So not going to get it. Now Fly gets picked off by Airman, who has joined the fight. Trixie trying to run away will retreat through that wall. Very back and forth game. I mean, really, I don't know how else to say it. Airman, in spite of a couple of deaths, he is starting to get pretty scary. He's got the armlet up, he's got the Midas. And, I mean, he's getting to a point where, with some proper chain stuns, he can just burst a lot of these supports down.
Yeah, the Radiant supports are actually falling a little bit behind now. They're getting picked off by... They will get picked off very soon by Nags and Bounty Hunter. We just saw Lena die. Drop 2 sentries, and they didn't even pick up the Bounty Hunter kill. Trixie actually misses wall on the Bounty Hunter. It would have killed him. He had 97 HP, does 150. So after Magic Resist, he would have just killed him. But it was just out of range, maybe 100 range away near that bottom rune.
Yeah, I mean, he played almost flawlessly in the laning stage, but that wall can be, at times, a little bit difficult to place. Also, he doesn't have the level 2 wall yet. Should have it momentarily. Did opt for 2 points in the surge and a max vacuum, but level 1 wall really doesn't do all that much just because the duration is so low. Only 15 seconds, but hey, the level 2 wall coming soon. Era, Ion Shelled up, has an ultimate orb, is going for an early Manta style. A nice ability to have up against Track and Open Wounds, does remove both of those, so I think this is a pretty nice choice. Although he does have Phantasm in addition to that. EMP Tornado is going to hit everyone. You mentioned they've got a lot of Arcane Boots, but that doesn't stop the damage, and Fly's going to drop. Now onto CRZ, the counter-initiate from Fnatic, but forced to run away. They don't want to fight in that Static Storm. Hani has his ult, but it's only Lifestealer who's manning up here. Now Santa gets caught. Santa will drop. And VP on the back foot, and there's, look at the chasing power of this Fnatic squad. Surge, as well as the Tether, just making everybody so mobile. Airman wants to fight. Unfortunately, as good as Lifestealer is in those smaller scale engagements, really hard to actually get kills. No Tail just juking with him, toying with him. Oh man, he is just playing with his food right now. They get the kill. The tower drops to the creeps, not even denied by CRZ. 3 more deaths for VP, and now there are no Dire Towers standing on the bottom or middle lanes, which means Roshan wide open for Fnatic.
Wisp is actually like very difficult to kill for Nags if played correctly. You saw No Tail just run into that juke spot and just tether away. Very nice play by the Wisp.
Yeah, and you know, it's the one of the weaknesses of that Lifestealer is he's obviously Rage is an amazing ability, but once it wears off, you are vulnerable to chain stun. And if Wisp wastes a lot of your time with those tethers, then suddenly you blow your raids to try and kill them off. You get nothing. They are going to try and contest this Roshan. Kinetic Field dropped, catches out 2. There's no Static Storm for 12. Meanwhile, on the other side of play, in comes the Invoker. Sven dropping low. Cold snapped up the creeps, bringing him down. Will he drop? No, he's able to survive. Storm bolts the damn Furion creeps just to try and keep them alive. Oh, Lena executes the Bounty Hunter with a brutal Laguna Blade. Drum charge is used by Era, giving chase to CRZ. CRZ 4 seconds stunned, and it's that chain stun you talked about in the early stages. being even perhaps more useful now. Lifestealer coming in, but can't do anything to that Darkseer. Eric gets another pick off, kills off the Disruptor, and Lifestealer still just struggling to get into the fight. By the time he joins it, well, it's pretty much lost, and now KSI next to drop. The lack of team fight, the lack of true stuns for VP, I feel really costing them here.
Disruptor ended up buying back too. He got picked off on the left side. He was a little bit separated from his team, so that was a very costly fight for VP.
And the Invoker.
Fnatic RC is going to finish Roshan. He's at like maybe 30% right now, 20% and dropping fast to CK.
And this is just not fair. They're really low, but no problem, or maybe a problem. CRZ barely able to get away, just picked up that Force Staff. Despite having the double Midas, it does seem like VP is very poor and really struggling to get items, especially on those heroes who don't have the Midases. And they get the Aegis, so that Wisp just giving them the free Fountain Trip and then bringing them right back. Just such a versatile ability, as well as a hero in general. Trixie, no real item progression for him, aside from the Arcane Boots, but it's sitting on another 2.2k. I think Fnatic, I mean, what's to stop them from just grouping up and taking this last outer tower and looking to go high ground?
You'll probably see them pick up a gem very soon.
Do they need it? Oh, yes, they do. Right as I say, do they need it? Santa just gets out of range of that Sentry Ward. The dust barely misses him. I mean, I will say the Fly's been on the ball with those Sentry Wards, but at some point, the gem, not only for the bounty, but also for map control, just such a nice pickup.
Very good ward by Radiant. They were almost able to get a pick off when they saw Bounty Hunter just doing that small camp. They vacuumed in, but unfortunately unable to pick them up.
All right, so if you're in Virtus Pro's position right now, what do you look to do? I mean, you've got Bounty Hunter, you've got the Lifestealer who could infest him or the Prophet. Do you just try and stall the game? Do you try and go for some ganks? Like, what's your game plan?
You have to solve the game at this point. Like, their 5-man is just way too strong right now with, like, usually Nyx is pretty good versus these strength melee heroes, but they're just doing an excellent job of kiting him. Whoever you open wounds, immediately surge, and if he goes on Wisp, Wisp will just tether away, and Lina will get surged. She actually has a Ghost Scepter right now, so there's no easy targets for Nyx right now. Usually, Nyx's Lifestealer is such a really good pick because he can just instantly pick off a support before the fight begins and just make it 4v5, but, you know, Fnatic just doing a very good job of keeping him from doing any sort of damage with his early farm, early Treads, Armlet, Midas.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that Surge is just so powerful against him, and it's not just that can be fine if you've got stuns, but they really don't have any aside from Cold Snap and that Kinetic Field. Speaking of that Kinetic Field, a really nice one to bring Trixie low, will be caught in the back lines and picked off. Lina throws out the Laguna Blade, and now, like you said, the Ghost Scepter just allowing them to kite that Lifestealer. In comes Fen, he's the bigger man, he's not afraid of this zombie, wants to bring him down, wanted infest just in the nick of time, and now says, Santa, beat me up, get me the hell out of here, and he should be able to escape. Meanwhile, Prophet just staying away from the fights and has picked up a Force Staff, not rushing that Hex. They are going to need it at some point. BKBs, I guess the nice thing is Fnatic not rushing the BKBs. We're seeing a CK go for an early Ultimate Orb, probably the Mad style to come. Actually, they go in on Trixie, middle lane, Airman pops out. Does toggle the Armlet, but that rage is about to end. Doesn't have a Fest available to escape. He will toggle the Armlet back on. Pulled in the middle of 5 heroes and picked off for his trouble. Prophet TP's out. I think VP just really overextending there.
They managed to kill Darkseer, and he bought back, but I don't think losing 3 heroes is worth that. Especially Nyx's life.
Well, it was a track kill, but I mean, like you said, you're giving up 3 for 1, even with track kills, probably not really worth it.
And they didn't even manage to get that T1 tower on bottom, which they were originally trying to go for.
How often do we see this? There's a Prophet in the game who had a reasonably early Midas, and there's still tier 1s up, standing at the 24-minute mark, and Fnatic's been 5-manning, which is normally where you can get those towers. It's just the Wisp. I mean, just the threat of that gank, I guess, really discouraging him from pushing, and as well as Fnatic just being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, excellent movement by Fnatic. They're just all around the map, just trying to pick off any easy kills they can find, and they actually got they got a tower out of it. Fnatic RC just picked off top tower with CK Wisp, and then just TP'd bottom, and very good just movement around the map by them.
Yeah, as far as item progression, you've mentioned a lot of them. It's not just a Ghost Scepter on the lead, and now it comes out on the Darkseer. And I mean, once the Wisp gets one, assuming she goes for one, she's already shown what she can do with Tether. Surge is, of course, always going to be a nuisance, and now you're looking at potentially a Ghost Scepter on her, or, you know, just something to help her tank up. Even some raw HP wouldn't be too bad. They relocate bottom. It's the Chaos Knight combo. He's got the Ion Show, but they need that Tether stun. They get it just in the nick of time, thanks to that Reality Rift. They'll be heading back mid if they want to in a few seconds. It looks like VP maybe wants to punish this. Nope, not quite in range to do so. Era gets surged in, has... Oh, Invoker. Oh, nice glimpse there. Does send the CK back. Halts the aggression for the moment, but once again, Santa... Oh, actually, the dust not catching him. This gem is still in No-Tail's stash. Surprised it's not being delivered. They must be waiting for something, or just forgetting about it for the moment, because they would have had the bounty otherwise, I think.
Yeah, it should be coming soon. Their Aegis expires in about a minute, so we might see some last-minute aggression before the Aegis expires. Maybe not. It looks like they're backing you off middle right now.
It does seem like Fnatic has slowed down a little bit. I mean, as far as gold and experience goes, they're still ahead, but I feel like VP aren't out of it. I'm just not sure what's a winning engagement for them, because they can't really fight 5v5. The lifesteal doesn't seem to be big enough for that. There's too many ways to kite him. They haven't really been able to find those pickoffs with the bounty, profit, the infest potential for that. So I feel like VP's not out of it numerically, but I just don't really know how they find an opening against Fnatic.
Right, I agree on that part. It's very hard for them to pick off to get any kills. They have double Ghost Scepter, Gem, so Bounty Hunter's just pretty much out of the question.
As hard as it is for them to find kills, look how easy it is for Fnatic. Just relocate in mid. Instantly the Disruptor is dead. EMP Tornado, that will not stop the relocate back to safety. They find the kill. Roshan's still dead for a while. The Aegis is about to expire. Should be any second now. But every time they get these kills, Virtus Pro just... I mean, even when they're farming, they're all sticking very close together in the jungle and not pushing.
Very good offensive ward setup by Fnatic. They have one in mid lane, one in bottom rune close to Roshan, and one on the very top, the top cliff. Very common ward spot, but they have very good vision, so they can play very, very aggressively with this good ward setup.
Yeah, I mean that fuels the aggression. It's the gasoline for the engine that is this Wisp CK plus whoever combo. Manta is up on the CK. He's got the gem as well. And with that Manta and Tether, and already having really high base move speed, even when he's not tethered, look at his move speed, 437. I think when he's tethered, he'll be sitting around like 480 if he uses a drum charge. Well, he's out. Does anybody else have one? Either way, there's always Surge, so he's going to be fast. And that's going to make it very hard for the Bounty Hunter to do anything, especially since he doesn't have a BKB. We're 27 minutes in. Normally, if you have a decent game as a Bounty, you'd have one by this time, but just not finding any kills. In fact, look at the Bounty Hunter. He's the third lowest net worth in a game with so many kills, with 41 kills in 27 minutes.
Wow. Right, we see CK and Sven actually on top of the net worth chart. None of the Midas heroes are, you know, on top, surprisingly. So we see a smoke from VP that are trying to just sit behind and probably bait this relocate gank, but it doesn't look like Fnatic's gonna take the bait.
Yeah, I mean they haven't really made too many big strategic errors like that. Like we've seen a lot of sort of more local errors, kind of those, you know, in the middle of the heat of the moment make a mistake like that, but they haven't really forced any bad fights so far. That is one of the ways to try and deal with relocate, is that smoke bait, but just not finding the openings. This is pretty cheeky by VP. Let's see if it's going to work. The Radiant don't have any vision into those trees for the moment. Bounty's going to lead the way. He's going to run right into that. No, the gem's actually on the CK, and he's top. So Bounty should be okay. It's Invoker who's going to get caught out of position. The EMP Tornado doing a little bit, but force snapping away into the Ghost Walk. Oh, what a dodge. Does manage to dodge that Stormbolt with the Ghost Walk. That is the one way you can disjoin it. Although you can't blink away from it, but now Santa gets caught out of position. Era brings him down, just slices him apart. And VP, they wanted to find that kind of cute little bait, force Fnatic into a bad position, but once again, Fnatic just looking too strong at this point.
VP doesn't really have an answer to this very farm Sven. BKB, Mask of Madness, Treads, Drums, Magic Wand. He can just go to town. I mean, they have 4 staff, but it's not really gonna keep him from wreaking havoc in team fights. I'm almost at a loss at this point. Like I don't know how VP takes a fight. They don't. Maybe if they had a Hex on the Prophet, they had a lifesteal with a Basher or an Abyssal Blade, like an item or two more, then maybe. And the BKB on the Bounty Hunter, then maybe they could take a fight. Maybe they'd have a chance. But they don't have the items to do it. And how do they farm them when they're up against the Wisp? It feels like, unless Fnatic really screws up, there's just no way out of this box. Right, they're just looking for easy kills. They'll probably take the next Roshan before they take a T3 unless they get, you know, a very easy few ganks. So they're just waiting around that Roshan area. One more minute on that timer, and just looking to pick off any easy kills that they can. We see Sven pinging on the Bounty Hunter top.
Wow, I want to point out this Sven is 12, 3, and 12, and they have 27 kills. The Wisp almost equally active. Oh, not the Sven, sorry, the CK. Those two have been involved in almost everything. Middle lane, it looks like they tried to Reality Rift the Invoker, didn't have the vision up the hill, and finally they start to get some momentum in the lanes. Airman pushing the top lane, here comes the relocate. They're going to catch out Airman, needs to TP immediately, he will do so. Even with all the crits, he is a little bit too tanky, not able to bring him down. But they'll come right back mid and maybe look to resume this push. They did get the top lane pushed out. They forced the TP back from the Lifestealer. NS looking to join this. There is no Phantasm. Hani sitting on a double damager and 3,000 gold. That's a recipe for Roshan, if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, they're just getting no room to farm. VP, like, they just can't farm anywhere at all. Can't even do their own big neutral spawn.
Yeah, they do have some. There's no more Radiant Vision for the moment, and at least over the. Oh no, sorry, there is. No, actually, that hill was dewarded, so no vision up the hill. Roshan's dropping low. I don't think VP can really contest this. They just try and stall it a little bit.
Yeah, they can take that T2 though while relocates down, but I know this Aegis is probably going to spell doom for VP.
Yeah, and they gave it to the CK who's got the Reaver. He's a beast and a half. This is a pretty fat CK.
1700 gold. He almost has his Vit booster and heart. Looks like they're 5-manning mid right now. That T1 tower is still up. 31 minutes in the game, and there's a Fury on the game. He could probably backdoor it at any time, but he has to be ever so fearful of that relocate gank.
Yeah, so they really can't commit to the split push, which we talked about when you're behind with this lineup, is really what you want to do. And Era just doesn't care. Has the Manta, has the Phantasm, can just start mauling away on this tower. Will remove the Cold Snap. Just another ability that Manta and Phantasm are great against. Pops the Manta and continues to bang away on the tower. And it's just going to be a base trade attempt from VP. They just don't really push that quickly. There's a Desolator up on Lifestealer, and Deafening Blast, if used on you before you pop your BKB, will actually prevent you from attacking, so it delays Hani just a little bit longer. But now he brings down the racks. The relocate should be happening momentarily. Will we see a really clutch glimpse? Oh, there's a Static Storm. They do come back. There is no glimpse. They'll be back mid in a little bit. Meanwhile, in the top lane, the action picks up. They pick off the Lifestealer. Back towards the middle lane, where it's Hani getting kited, getting brought down. Already used this BKB. This will be a nice kill, but back comes the Darkseer as well as the Wisp. No CK in this fight, and that might just be big trouble for them. I almost wonder if they should have left No-Tail behind. Instead, he's going to try to TP to safety. Do they have a stun? Don't tell me he's going to get away. He does. So they get Rex. They lose a tier 3 top. Rex does take some damage, but Fnatic defends and claims their first lane.
So yeah, Nick's not really making a big presence in these team fights. I think they expected this game to go a lot differently with this heavy gank lineup, but they actually got out-ganked due to Wisp mobility. We may see a Wisp ban next game just because of how much trouble he's been causing this whole entire game.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you haven't been watching too much of these, of the competitive scene lately, but this is Fnatic is a team that loves their CK Wisp. So not only because of the way this game went, but just in general, it's one of their favorite heroes. Airman just can't even deal with Era. I mean, like you said, Lifestealer can be great against those tanky carries, but when the Chaos Knight is this far ahead, he just doesn't care, and you can't attack all the illusions at once. Oh, he's gonna rage. He doesn't have a TP scroll. Airman absolutely screwed. Is bringing the CK quite low, but not able to pick him off. No-Tail may just relocate to Fountain, or no, he'll just earn himself up. How many earn charges is he sitting on? 4. Oh, Era just... I mean, who needs the Fountain trips when you've just got the Walking Fountain to keep you alive?
And heart.
Yeah, that as well. Oh yeah, completed hard up. Has managed to finish that.
That is a very stacked CK.
And I mean, it's a hero that often can struggle to farm, but when he has this kind of start, it is not trouble for him at all.
Another relocate kill. Bounty Hunter is just unable to get any room to do anything with his gem pickup.
I feel like this game, I mean, really it just came down to the laning stage to some extent. You're up against, they ran a Nake's dual lane mid, which just, like you said, isn't as strong as a killing combo as what Fnatic had there. Their off-lane bounty did okay, got some levels, had a nice movement mid, and at one he hit level 6, or when he hit level 5, then he got 6 off of that, but you know, didn't.
Top lane was you know, heavily in Fnatic's favor. You're supposed to, you know, at best you're going to be even, but he actually got first blood, and he just, you know, made VP devote a lot of resources to top lane, so they actually lost the other lanes because of that as well. Like Fearon was unable to help mid with the ganks on the disruptor, and unable to pick off any kills bottom. Looks like Fnatic gets their second set of racks down, or they take down their second set of racks.
Yeah, and I mean, you're down 2 lanes of racks, and you're down 2 lanes of racks to a more farmed Sven and CK than anything your team has to offer, plus there's the Wisp, so unless Fnatic somehow wipes inside of the enemy fountain, I don't know how they lose this fight, although Aaron does get caught, but remember, he's got the Aegis, so really nothing to worry about there, and in fact, Santa gets picked off, just a few chops, should fall, maybe not, Mass Force Step, helping to keep him alive. He will escape, instead, the price to be paid, the sacrifice to the Sven CK gods will be that disruptor. I mean,
yeah, we see a sheep now, but it's just too little, too late.
Yeah, and Virtus Pro know it and they tap out. And I guess I feel like this was a game where VP had to dominate the lanes. They couldn't, you know, lose them, and maybe breaking even would have been enough, but definitely not losing your safe lane and the mid lane not going especially well, having that early disruptor kill. Fnatic just lose the lane or dominate the lanes, and VP just don't really have an answer for them this game. So you think Wispan in game number 2?
I definitely think Wispan, and we probably won't see an Invoker pick. He didn't do well top lane at all, and they had double Arcane Boots to counter the EMP spam, and they have Wisp for that. So, I mean, look at Wisp. He even has a Heaven's Halberd at this point, so Naix is just completely dominating this game. He's 1-7, he had a decent Midas, and, you know, they tried to babysit him mid, but he was just unable to make any sort of impact in this game.
Pretty painful, man. I mean, when you look at it that way. Look at the Darkseer, by the way. 25 assists on him. And I mean, he had those 2 early kills, and that was pretty much it. Didn't get any more, but of course, that's not his job. This was only game number 1, guys. This is, of course, a best out of 3. Fnatic versus Virtus Pro. The loser of this series is done. They're done, I think, for the year. I believe this is the last major North American European tournament of 2012. So they're done for the year. They'll have a chance to recuperate whoever loses this series. The winner moves on to face the loser of Na'Vi versus Empire, our winners bracket finals, which will be happening later today. Also a best out of 3. I'm LD. I was joined here today by Merlini. Stay tuned, guys. Game 2 coming up soon.